Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a painter at work. The room is quiet, lit only by the soft glow of afternoon light. On the palette, reds and blues swirl together, yellows stretch into greens, and yet there are limits. No matter how hard the painter tries, certain colors simply cannot be mixed. But here's the mystery. Sometimes our eyes claim to see colors that shouldn't exist at all. A red that feels like it's also green, a blue shimmering with yellow, or shades so vivid that no pigment or screen could ever capture them. Are these real, or are they illusions, tricks played by the brain? This is the story of colors beyond colors, of how our eyes and minds can sometimes slip past the boundaries of the visible world and create hues that nature itself cannot provide. To understand this strange phenomenon, we need to peek inside the human eye. At the back of the eye lies the retina, lined with millions of tiny light-sensitive cells. Among them are the cones, our color detectors. Humans have three main types: one most sensitive to red light, one tuned to green, and one to blue. Every color we see is the result of these cones working together, sending overlapping signals to the brain. A warm orange, for example, is just the red and green cones firing together. A rich purple? That's red and blue teaming up. It's like a code. The brain doesn't see pure wavelengths. It interprets combinations, and from only 3 signals, it builds an entire rainbow. But here's where it gets curious. The same coding system that gives us every visible color also creates the possibility of colors we should never see. Imagine trying to picture a color that is both red and green at the same time. Not a muddy brown, not a blend, but truly red and green in equal intensity. Or blue and yellow, shining together without turning into dull gray. On paper, it sounds impossible. These pairs are called opponent colors. That's because of the way our visual system is wired. Deep inside the brain, special cells compare signals from our cones. Some cells measure red against green. Others measure blue against yellow. This system sharpens contrast, making our world vivid and clear. But it also sets strict boundaries. If a cell fires for red, it quiets down for green. If it fires for blue, it suppresses yellow. In normal vision, these opposites can never be experienced together. And yet, under the right conditions, some researchers claim humans can glimpse these so-called forbidden colors. In the 1980s and 1990s, vision scientists began running unusual experiments. They used carefully designed images, patterns of red and green stripes, or blue and yellow grids that locked each eye onto one color. By stabilizing the image so it didn't drift across the retina, participants reported something remarkable. Instead of switching back and forth between colors, they saw a strange new hue. Something that wasn't red, wasn't green, but both, fused together. Other experiments used afterimages, where staring at a bright color exhausts certain cones, making its opponent color appear on a blank wall. And these tests, people sometimes described colors beyond the spectrum, difficult to name. Not everyone agrees on what was truly seen. Some scientists argue it's just a visual trick, the brain blending signals in unfamiliar ways. Others believe it offers a genuine glimpse into colors outside ordinary perception. Either way, the experiments open the door to one idea. Maybe our eyes can sometimes cheat their own rules. Humans aren't the only creatures to experience color, but we aren't the most capable either. Many animals see colors differently because they have more types of cones in their eyes. Birds, for example, often have 4 or even 5 types of cones, allowing them to detect ultraviolet light, colors completely invisible to us. Some insects, like bees,
also see ultraviolet patterns that guide them to flowers. This means that what we consider invisible or impossible colors may exist in the world of other animals. For them, the spectrum of reality is broader than ours. Even within our species, rare people called tetrachromates carry a fourth functional cone. They can distinguish subtle color variations that most humans cannot, effectively expanding their personal color universe. By comparing humans to animals, we start to see that color isn't a fixed property of the world. It's a product of the eyes and brain interpreting light, a personalized reality shaped by biology.
Scientists have a way to map every color humans can see using color spaces, like the famous CIE 1931 diagram. Every point on this chart corresponds to a combination of red, green, and blue signals. But intriguingly, some points on these maps don't correspond to any real light that can exist in nature. These are called imaginary colors. They are mathematically valid, but physically impossible. A color you could calculate, but never shine from a lamp or mix in paint. This reveals something profound. Our perception of color isn't simply a property of light itself. It's a combination of physics, biology, and mathematics. Some colors only exist in theory or in the brain's imagination. When we talk about seeing colors that don't exist, we are exploring this boundary between what light can produce, what our eyes can detect, and what our brain can imagine. Color perception doesn't stop at the eyes. It's the brain that truly creates what we see. After the cones send signals, they reach the visual cortex, where specialized cells process the information, compare inputs, and interpret contrast. Some of these cells are opponent neurons, amplifying differences between red and green or blue and yellow. Others detect edges, motion, and patterns, helping the brain assign meaning to colors. Under unusual conditions, such as stabilized images or afterimages, the brain can combine signals in ways it normally wouldn't. This can create experiences of hues that aren't physically present, a reddish-green shimmer or a blue tinged with yellow. In essence, these impossible colors are not simply light hitting the retina. They are the brain performing a delicate, creative calculation, bending perception into territories no natural pigment or light source can reach. Even without special experiments, our eyes and brains can create the illusion of colors beyond reality in everyday life. After staring at a bright red flower, you might see a faint green afterimage on a white wall. Place certain colors side by side, and one can appear more vivid or even shift slightly in hue due to chromatic induction. Screens, lights, and even shadows can trick our perception, producing subtle sensations of colors that don't truly exist. These illusions remind us that color is not just a property of the world. It's a conversation between light, eyes, and brain. What we see is a personal interpretation, influenced by context, memory, and even expectation. Sometimes in these fleeting moments, we brush up against the edge of impossible colors, a reminder of the mind's extraordinary power to create a reality that goes beyond the physical. So what does it mean that our eyes can glimpse colors that don't exist? It shows that color is not just a property of light or objects, it's a construct of the brain. Our perception is an active creation, blending physics, biology, and imagination. The colors we see are shaped by our eyes, our neurons, and even our emotions. By exploring impossible colors, we glimpse the boundary between reality and perception. We realize that the world we experience is uniquely ours, filtered through millions of years of evolution and refined by the brain's incredible capacity to interpret light. Next time you see a vivid sunset, a shimmering painting, or even a fleeting afterimage on a blank wall, pause. Those colors, real, imagined, or somewhere in between, are a quiet testament to the wonders of human perception. And perhaps, in that moment, you're seeing a color that truly doesn't exist anywhere else in the world but in your own mind.